Hey everybody, what is up? My name's Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice.
And today, we're taking a look at Horrified Greek monsters.
All Hades is breaking loose in this third installment of the Horrified franchise.
I do like the little subtitles, Home of the Grave, and all this.
It's super cute. Yeah. But we've talked about Horrified a lot on this channel before, and it's one of my favorite games, and it's particularly my favorite game to play during the Halloween season. So, let's see how Horrified Greek monsters lived up.
For those who are not familiar with the Horrified series, it is a cooperative game where monsters have broken loose in the town, they're wreaking havoc, and we have to try to defeat them, each sort of aligned with their own mythology or their story. So previously we had, Dracula, you had to go and smash the coffins. Then we had American monsters, where you had to try to take a picture of Bigfoot. Yeah. And now we have Greek monsters. So in this one, you have the sirens, who you're trying to drown out their sounds so that you're not brought to the depths. We also have Cerberus, where you're trying to open the gates to Hades and send him back to the underworld. You also have the Minotaur, who you're trying to build the labyrinth and escape. So these are a couple examples of monsters that you have in this game. On your turn, you get a number of actions, and you basically get to move around the board, pick up items, advance the efforts to defeat those monsters, and try to get these legends who have appeared on the board to their homes where they need to go. So you go on these little quests to get some
people that are wandering out in the open.
Why do people always go out in the open with these monsters? Don't they know there's monsters?
Yeah.
Now, Horrified came out in 2019. We've got a number of videos on it, including our review of Horrified American Monsters. So go check that out if you haven't seen a Horrified game before. But today, talking a little bit about what's different about Greek monsters. We have a couple things. There is a new system for how the monsters get activated on their turn. So when a monster's card is drawn and the symbol matches the monster gets to go, and that's when you're in danger. In this game, they changed it from a one-to-one icon to monster sort of system to now every monster has a set of symbols associated with them. So it could be a leaf, it could be a sword, it could be a helmet, it could be a vase, and basically if any of those three symbols match the symbol on the card, you get activated. So that means multiple monsters could get activated by one symbol. It could mean that no monsters get activated based on how those are lined up. Now, what's interesting about this is it makes it an expandable system for the first time. So that means they could theoretically add more monsters if they wanted to. We could get the Cyclops in here. Yeah. They could do that if they wanted to.
Yeah,
so
I think they
that was a change.
I think they did this just to give them an open door to the possibility of adding on if they want.
Yeah. Now, we do have one other new system. That's the Lairs. So in this game, there are these hidden layers that are always going to be out. They correspond to 4 of the monsters in the base game. And when those get revealed, if those monsters are in play, those are basically new locations that you can use to advance those objectives.
Now I want to look at each individual character and to dive into what we're doing. So let's go ahead and first start with Medusa. Her whole plot is, and the way you have to defeat her is by getting her to look at her own reflection. That's very true to the theme in real life, in mythology. And you have to attract her and get her to come to where those mirror spaces are. So around the board, there's going to be different mirror traps set up, and you are going to lure her into those spots. Overall, I think Medusa was done well. I think her puzzle was laid out clear. It was thematic, and I think it was polished off very nicely.
And you finish her off in the statue garden, which is just kind of fun. Next up, I would say, is the Siren, which was another puzzle that we enjoyed. This is one where, effectively, to drown out the siren, you have to match the tones that the siren is singing. So you have these matching symbols that were actually Greek musical notation. We looked it up.
Yeah, we are that nerdy that we're like, is this actually a Greek symbol?
Yeah, and there's vocal notation that's different from instrument notation, and they actually use vocal notation. So that was very cool to see. But basically, it's a matching puzzle. So you reveal 2. And if they match, you get to remove it from the board. Basically, over time, you're going to get to reveal all of those, and then you'll get to defeat the siren. So it's a fun little just memory game. I love this sort of classic games. We had Bigfoot with the sliding picture where you have to create the picture. Yeah. This felt like another one of those sort of, that fun classic game you play as a kid.
Next up is Cerberus, which is the very classic 3-headed dog, which I love from Harry Potter. But
it's not from Harry Potter.
I know it's not from Harry Potter. Okay, anyway. So Cerberus's whole deal is that we are trying to unlock the gates to the underworld so that we can shove him back in and get him to go away. So I actually thought this one was really neat and something that was different than I've seen in the other ones. You actually had to use the dice that are used in the game for events and for damage, and you have to roll a certain combination to unlock those doors. And so like you'll see it right here. There's different things you have to unlock, and those doors are actually 2 separate panels too. So it's like you only have to get 2 and then 1 as well. But I thought that was a creative way that I've never seen the dice used that way in any other character before. And I think he was pretty well written, and I understood how to use his character.
Yeah, we did hit one snag with him, which is where like 2 of the doors have less than 3 dice on them. So it was like not super clear if like we're supposed to, the 2 doors together make 3 dice, so were we supposed to remove the 2 together? We had to read the rules a couple times, which did say 1 door token, and each of those were set as 1 door token.
Yeah.
This is where the rules confusion begins.
Yeah, I actually think we clarified that by going and looking at the components, and it said 5
door tokens.
Which we're like, okay, that must be that we can use these as 2 separate doors.
So this was the first snag that we hit in the game. Next up, we had the Basilisk, who basically, the idea for the Basilisk is kind of cool. They did like a whole like chicken lizard thing, which is, I guess, more of a traditional
more of the original. The original is that it is a chicken egg and a serpent's born in it, but it was incubated by a toad.
Take it what you will. And it can die by the stink of a weasel, apparently. But anyway, for this Basilisk, it says that you must have items blessed by the gods. They're the only thing that can pierce the scales of the chicken lizard, the Basilisk. So basically 2 bless items by the gods. There's 4 temples around. You gotta like take items, go there and bless your item. It goes onto the Basilisk's board, and then once you have 4 items, you can defeat him with 30 plus in strength. Now, this one just gave us a huge headache because, first of all, it says you must, the items must be blessed by the gods to pierce the scales. So we're like, okay, we have to have blessed items. You look at his player board, it only has 4 spots for items. It does say that those items get value plus 2 when used to defeat, but the only way to get to 30 is if you have 30 plus points worth of items there, or if you can use items from your hand. Now, we did a ton of digging. We looked on Board Game Geek. We tried to get some help on this. Basically, what we saw in the rules video was you can put 1 item each in the temples and then get plus 2 for each of those. And then you also can use items from your hand to defeat the Basilisk. It says that you have to place these blessed items on these temple spaces. The icon that it uses is the any number of items of any color symbol. However, we know that you're only supposed to put 1 item on each location and that you're only supposed to put 1 item per turn. So we looked back in the rulebook, they actually made another icon. There's this like icon that is, it's like a black item that says like any color item. And that's what it really should have been. It should have been that black color icon if that's what they meant, was just like put any item there. But strangely, this item, and it happened with the Chimera too, which we'll talk about in a second, but this should have been used in 2 different places and it never got used in the game. Yeah. So it describes it in the rulebook and then it never got used. Yeah. And they're misusing instead this any number of items like list.
I think they either forgot it or it was a graphic design error.
Yeah, it's like they created the icon and then they never used it. Now next is the Chimera, which is a puzzle where basically you have to close the 3 heads of the Chimera, close the eyes so that it falls asleep. And basically you have to spend a number of items for each of those. That was another case where they used the wrong symbol there, where it should have just been like the 3 black for the 3rd head. But basically you're just like spending items for that one. I wouldn't say it's a particularly interesting puzzle, but it works as a puzzle. There was also the Minotaur, who basically has a labyrinth puzzle that has to get completed. And this one was just an unacceptable level of confusing. I don't know what was going on here. Basically, you have this like key-shaped labyrinth piece that's in there first. You then have all the other pieces of the labyrinth shuffled, and it says you reveal the next labyrinth piece. And then it says like you can place it or you can swap 2 that are like already out. The next labyrinth piece, where does it go? Does it go to the left? Does it go to the right? Can I put it anywhere? Because since it's a like fixed shape image, once I've seen the puzzle once, I know exactly where that piece goes. So it was like, I don't get it. Where am I supposed to put those labyrinth pieces? Also, 2 labyrinth pieces have the exact same path on them. So it like goes around the outside ring identically on 2 different pieces, which means those pieces can be swapped interchangeably. However, they have a different shade on them. So one is very clearly supposed to go on the right and one's supposed to go on the top. But because they have the same path, did you complete it even if the picture doesn't look right? I don't know.
We said we did.
Yeah. Anyway, it says once you finish the puzzle, then you go to the labyrinth puzzle or to the labyrinth layer, and you defeat him from there. Now, it may sound like I'm being a little bit harsh by saying it's an unacceptable puzzle, but if you go look on Board Game Geek at the rules section, there are just dozens of threads about how does the Minotaur work, how does the Basilisk work, how does this work. It's super confusing. Everyone had the same thoughts that we did. No one understands like what the rules are actually supposed to be. We're all interpreting it based off of like the short how to play video. So we're all kind of just going off what the fans are guessing.
I think this is important to state because Designated as a family weight game, the rules just need to be abundantly clear because people only get like a first chance. You only get a first chance at a rule book, really.
Now, I will say there was one difference for all the monsters that was pretty interesting and made the dice a lot more scary, which was that because they now have this new system of multiple symbols per monster, the cards are not what causes the monsters to do the like special things that they do. So it used to be that when the Dracula card comes out, Dracula's doing something. Now, when the monsters roll their dice and they roll those exclamation points, which is like their event, those felt much stronger overall. So like the siren is pulling everyone towards you. So like we're all going towards the siren. And then some of the other ones were pretty interesting too, that like some of them are like eating items and like going to the space with the, the highest number of items. The scariest one is the Cerberus actually, because it advances the monster deck, which is your clock on the game.
Yeah.
So that one was always like, ugh, when that one came out. So you had to really run away.
I think with the Lairs is that they're all out no matter what. So even if that character, let's say I have a Medusa one and I'm not playing with Medusa, that is still one of the Lairs that can be revealed. And I wish, this is just the design thought, I just wish there was like another thing that it did besides like reveal that layer. Like I wish there was
like advance that one monster.
Like to a specific monster, like it being like a negative, like oops, like you shouldn't have done that, or a positive, like I don't know, I think it would be a negative, like ooh, you scared that monster.
That's
like
interesting.
You opened up the wrong layer that was not someone else, or maybe it immediately brings someone onto the board.
Like for instance, Medusa's lair, the second you reveal it, it could end your turn because like you're frozen by Medusa.
Yeah. The legends in this version are the village, quote unquote villagers that you are having to guide from point A to point B. They are wandering out in the city and you have to go and rescue them. For Horrified and for Horrified American Monsters, I thought this was done very thematically because they were villagers. They were like the high school cheerleader. They were like people that like you needed to go and save. For Horrified Greek Monsters, like they even stated in the title that they are legends. Like we have Hippolyta, you have Midas, you have Atlanta, like a bunch of other people.
Daedalus, Io, Orion.
Yeah. My big question is why am I saving them? I think that they are capable probably. I'm like please help me, mister.
Hippolyta is an Amazon huntress. Like you should be killing the Minotaur, not me.
So I felt for this, because this, I feel like in a third installment, what I'm really looking for is I want it to up the ante. And I feel like if you're going to use legends instead of random Greek like citizens, I wish it would have given me something, or like maybe Midas would have given me like a gold token or something like that. Yeah, one of the
golden items.
Yeah. So
the golden apple.
I just feel like they were more just like I drugged them along, just return them to their place. I didn't feel as motivated by them.
Now, granted, the perk cards are thematic with the legends. It's like you're getting blessed by the gods, so you get like the speed of Hermes, and like it is actually like, okay, cool, that legend would have granted me that perk card.
Yes.
But the perk cards just didn't. They weren't anything special
I
compared
them to be more tied to that person.
Well, think about even like if you look at Horrified American Monsters, there was the Jersey Devil, which works with like each of the villagers trying to figure out who the 13th child was.
Yeah. So it played into that.
They've used them before. I just felt like they were an underutilized component in this game.
Art direction and components were done beautifully in this game. I think it has art is gorgeous. The monster deck is really cool. Beautiful,
love the card backs.
Beautiful card backs. Like, love like the symbolism and the detail that they pull in for all the Greek. Like, art direction is gorgeous. Box cover, like, I love again how they're showing the monster face in it. I love how the figures turned out. I think they're like just as good as how much I love the Greek the American monsters. I thought these were really cool, very well detailed.
I like that they went back to roots on a lot of these characters. Like, I think about sirens as like, you know, mermaids like with claws, but they chose the like more bird-like ones. They chose the chicken lizard for the basilisk. It's like, I like that they went with more classic interpretations that when you read the actual myths, that's
gold star for art direction.
So
I think
it's very cool.
Tying in theme. So the big question is, how does Horrified Greek Monsters rank up against Horrified and Horrified American Monsters? Unfortunately, I think I am going to have to say Horrified Greek Monsters is going to be coming in at the bottom of the three. It still has like the super great system that I love about Horrified, but if you are lining up boom, 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 unfortunately, for the creativity with the puzzles and uniqueness, I really wanted to see something different and like really like breaking in and creativeness with that with the third installment of the game.
They were just kind of confusing. There were so many rules questions that we had, and that should not be the case in a family weight entry level game. And then just some of the puzzles were just kind of less creative, I feel like, than the other games that we played.
That being said, though, if you don't own any of the Horrifieds and you really like Greek mythology, you're like, I really like this, I think it's super cool, art is beautiful, then I would say play Greek Monsters and like read the forums and like any rule clarification. And I think Ravensburger will probably come out with a correction to clarify some things soon. So like then get Greek Monsters. It still has a super great system and it's a great co-op game for the month of October, or because it's Greek Monsters any time of year, really.
Yeah, I think some of the point that we're making here is like our expectations are raising with each installment. If you're going to continue with the series, we expect that you're growing on the shoulders of the game that came prior to it. And it just didn't feel like, the two new things being the new expandable system and the new Lairs. I like the new expandable system. It's cool to think that there can be more monsters added to the game because it was always a closed loop system. But besides that, there weren't a whole lot of things that were new, unique to this game. And that's like more what we were looking for, I think.
All right, guys, that is our review of Horrified Greek Monsters. If you want to check out any of our other reviews, like Horrified American Monsters, you can find the link down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I have a big goal that I'd love to reach 8,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you watch our videos at all and like find any enjoyment or information out of them, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot and helps us guys a lot. And thank you to everyone else that has already subscribed. We reached 7,000 last week, so this is just super exciting. But thank you guys for being along this journey for us, and we'll see you next time. Happy playing!
You'll be horrified to hear that the Minotaur's puzzle is not amazing.
That's bad. I'm here to take you guys on a mini tour of Horrified Greek Monsters.
Terrible.
Terrible. What was the name of the band they snuck out to see and Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire? Smashing Pumpkins.